Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Redhead Boo here. Now I have my Disney Cruise sweatshirt on. No, I am not going on a Disney cruise, wish I was. However, today's video is going to be a Disney related video and it's actually going to be my last Disneyland Paris video, which is sad, I know, but I feel like this one is very important, especially if you have a trip coming up or you're a first time visitor to Disneyland Paris. I still have a bit of a iffy throat, so I apologise for how I sound, and these glasses aren't actually the ones I have now because yesterday I managed to break them. So these are my spare pair while I get my other ones sorted out. But yeah, it is annoying, but at the same time it's also like hopefully they'll be able to sort them out so I can get back to wearing my old glasses. New glasses, not old, yeah. So yeah, I've gone off a bit of a tangent there. So today's video is actually going to be my sort of top tips. I want to say for like a first timer at Disneyland Paris. If you don't know, I went to Disney in February, had the most amazing time. There is a vlog on my channel, please go check it out if you want. And while I was there, I thought I really want to do like a top tip video for anyone in the same position as me who hadn't been for a while or just never got the chance to go. So yeah, I was originally going to do 10. However, when I was like thinking of ones that I needed to add, I managed to get 15. So bear with me, not sure how long this video will be, but these are my 15 top tips on visiting Disneyland Paris. I hope you all enjoy. So my first tip, now this one is so important I think, and I do have them all written down so I might be like looking at the sheet of paper throughout the video. Yeah, so the first one I definitely think is very important. So if you are going to Disneyland Paris, obviously you wouldn't be watching this video otherwise, and you have booked one of the Disneyland resorts, so do I know all of them? This is going to test me. So there's Disneyland Hotel, obviously, Davy Crockett Ranch, Santa Fe, Cheyenne, Sequoia Lodge, Newport Bay, and I think that's it. Or am I missing one? I think that's it. Oh no, Marvel, the Art of Marvel Hotel as well. If you stay at any of them from 8:30 a.m. until the park opens to the rest of the public, you can go into either Walt Disney Studios Park or the main Disneyland Park an hour before anybody else. This time is just, it's incredible because obviously it is still quite busy, and if it's like a holiday it will be busy, but you can get so much done. Like, I'm not going to go into detail yet because there is another tip about that, but for example, when we got into the park, I think the second day, which is like our first full day, we managed to queue to meet Winnie the Pooh, and the day we arrived in the park for the very first time, the Winnie the Pooh queue was easily over an hour, and when we queued to meet him, I think we only waited about 15-20 minutes maybe. It wasn't long at all, and yeah, extra magic hours are just incredible and I highly recommend you use them. So that is my tip number 1. Tip number 2. Walk to the Disney parks in the morning rather than using the shuttle buses. This was something I absolutely loved doing on my trip. Obviously, they say the walks from the hotels are about 15-20 minutes. I don't think they are, but I don't know if that's because I was just too excited to get into the parks each morning, so I was sort of like speed walking. Yeah, I think it only took us about 5 minutes, maybe 10, if we stopped off at like Starbucks or something. So it didn't take long at all, and the walk along Lake Disney, especially if you stay at Newport Bay, I think, because Newport Bay was like opposite the lake, so you literally had to walk around the lake and then you literally at Disney Village. So it didn't take long at all, to be fair. So, and of course, if you are staying in a holiday, again, crowd levels on the buses can be a bit of a problem, especially if you're staying to watch the fireworks. Because we stayed to watch the fireworks on the first night, and coming out of the park, it does get very busy. So I wouldn't recommend getting the buses. I would honestly spend some time in Disney Village and then walk, because yeah, it's great. And it's a nice pleasant walk along the lake in the morning, so you can't really go wrong. Tip number 3. This is something loads of people told me about, and this is something that I also used. So if, for example, there is a character that is on like the top of your list to meet and they are not a scheduled meet, so on the Disneyland Paris app, I wish I would have added this tip in actually, download the app, and when you use it in the parks, it will tell you which characters are listed, their times, where they'll be. So I think, I'm gonna have to remember now, there's Mickey in his house, obviously, Princess Pavilion, Mickey Mouse outside Phantom Manor, or it can be Pluto as well. Minnie, Goofy and Pluto meet outside of Cowboy Cookout in little cowboy gear, and sometimes Chip and Dale apparently. Chip and Dale have a scheduled meet outside, I want to say it's Colonel Haffey's Pizza Outpost. It's basically opposite that in Frontierland. You have some Alice in Wonderland characters, I believe, around the teacups. I swear there's another one, but I forgot it. Baloo outside near Hakuna Matata, I think, with King Louie. Woody and Jessie in Pixar Place in Walt Disney Studios. Goofy outside the entrance of Studios Park as Director Goofy, obviously. And I think, is that it? And then there's Olaf, who is in the Animation Celebration studio, I think, near where you do like the drawing classes. So, but if there is a character that's not listed, like the day I bounded as Donald, and I really wanted to meet him, and I'd met him before on the day before, and I was desperate to find him, because obviously I was dressed like him, so I thought that interaction would be priceless. And I turned up and it was Rafiki, and I was like, oh. So I asked the cast member, do you know if Donald or Donald and Daisy are out anywhere in the park? And she said, I'm not sure if they're out today, however, if you go to Fantasyland at the back of the castle, go and see if they are out next to the old mill, which I did. I went down there, did see people queued up, didn't realise at that time it was for Donald and Daisy. And then I remembered people said, look near Casey Jr. and the boat ride, because sometimes they can be there. Turned up, and Donald and Daisy were walking to the old mill, so I literally queued up and met them. So definitely, if there is a character that you want to meet, 100% ask cast members, because they are so helpful, and I was very grateful to that cast member who helped me out. Tip number 4, mobile order. This is a lifesaver in the parks. Again, like I mentioned, if you are going during the school holidays, the restaurants are going to be busy. It's obvious. And there are a few of the quick service restaurants, I think Casey Jr., Hakuna Matata, Hyperion, Videopolis, whatever it's called, and there are a few others, I think, that offer mobile order. So if you go on the app, and I believe there's a little section about it, and you're in the parks, you go to that restaurant, order what you want, so drinks, food, and then you pay on the app, and then you get a message when your food is being prepared to go and collect it, and you literally wait 30 seconds, if that. We did it, and honestly I highly recommend, because the queues to get food at some of the places were ridiculous, and you would have been waiting for about an hour at least. So when we turned up at Hyperion, I think it's called, the Star Wars one, I don't know, and there was a massive queue, we were like, you know what, let's just use mobile order, and it was great. So definitely use it. Tip number 5, I am going to say this is the most important tip, I think, on this whole list. Whatever you do, wear comfy shoes. The amount of walking you have to do in the park, I knew there would be a lot of walking. I didn't realise how much. And I stupidly, and I know a lot of people are going to say that was ridiculous, why did you do that? I wore a pair of Vans that I hadn't worn before, expecting them just to be like my Mickey Mouse ones, to be comfy, and I got blisters. And I was prepared for this because I did take blister plasters with me. But I should have taken more than one pair of shoes now. Looking back, I wish I would have done. But I need to make sure next time that I wear comfier shoes. And it's not so much the walking, it's more when you get in a queue and then it sort of hits you like how tired your feet can get. But if you wear comfy shoes, you should be fine. So learn from me, learn from my mistakes. So yeah. Tip number 6. If you only have a short visit planned, so like a day trip or 2 nights rather than 3, and again, if it's the school holidays, or if not and you go when it's sort of like a quieter time, so like in between the seasons or like in February or something, make sure you plan out your day. You don't have to have like a detailed plan for every single second of the day, but if there's rides you want to do, there's characters you want to meet, shows, whatever, or if you're going for a bit of a longer trip, do what we did and maybe plan like shows or characters on one of the days and then rides the rest. Because for me, I am a fan of rides, however there were a few that I knew I wouldn't go on, and I think because the fact I was in such a big group, it meant that I was okay with going off on my own or going to meet a character, shopping, doing stuff that I wanted to do. And obviously Jade could go off with the others, and I didn't mind just waiting around and trying new stuff and going to meet characters on my own. Like, I had fun. Not that I didn't like who I was with, because I obviously did, but getting to do my own thing and just walking around Disney, like, it just makes you feel good. So yeah, it was good. Tip number 7, always check the weather just before your trip, especially when packing. So I'd say, I think I packed the week before I left for Paris, I think, yeah. And I was checking the weather constantly. I was on the app. I had my friend who was out there and she was telling me what it was like. So I obviously knew, because it was February, it would be cold. Didn't realise it would be as wet as it was. So I definitely think next time I go, I will take a coat with a hood. But rather than just hats and yeah. So I definitely think taking a coat with a hood, and like thermal leggings became my best friend in Disneyland Paris. Like, they were so comfy. I didn't have to bother about jeans. So yeah, I just felt so comfy in what I was wearing. I'd had a list of what I wanted to take for a long time. Even the day I bounded at Donald, I was warm because I had like my thick socks on. So yeah, just always check the weather and pack for all weathers, really, because even if you're going in the summer, it could rain, it could be colder on a night. Like, on a night in my parks bag, I always took one of my hats with me. I didn't really wear gloves because I didn't see much point in wearing them, because, to be honest, it wasn't as cold as I thought it would be. It was not warm, but when it was raining, that's when it was a bit like annoying. So yeah, pack for all weathers, definitely. Tip number 8, if you want to meet a lot of characters like I did, because I think overall I met 17 or 18 altogether. No, I must have met more than that. Maybe 20, I don't know. I don't know who I met. Take an autograph book, either, and this is a big tip, go on Facebook and see if there's any people who offer like merchandise pickups before your trip, so you can get one ready for before you go, like I did. And also check out Vinted, because I found a Disneyland Paris Spirit jersey, Disneyland Paris autograph book on Vinted for £5, and they accepted offers. So I literally got it for £5, including postage, which was incredible. And it meant that, like, I wouldn't have had to buy one in the park, and if there was a character, literally straight away I could just go up to them and be like, can I have an autograph? And as well, if you want something a bit different, I know people take lounge flies, they take photo frames, they take cards. I've had cards signed by characters before. Yeah, they'll just sign anything if you ask them. So if you want to be a bit different, do it. Or like, and especially, this is a massive tip as well in itself, take a pen that all of the characters can use. Because my pen that I bought first was too small for the big gloved characters like Mickey and the gang, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to find something else. And someone recommended Sharpies, and I bought like a pack of loads of different coloured ones, and the autographs, I'd sort of picked colours that I thought would go well with a certain character. So for Donald I did blue, Daisy I think I did purple or pink, Minnie I did red, Mickey black, Winnie the Pooh red because of his top, and I just sort of did it like that. Tigger had orange, Pluto I think had orange, and yeah, it just worked really well and it made the autographs look so much better, I think. Tip number 8, I believe. Yeah, so this is the one I mentioned about in the first tip. So in Extra Magic Hours, if there are rides that are incredibly popular throughout the day, so things like Big Thunder, Hyperspace Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, what else? Peter Pan's Flight, stuff like that, go and do them rides, because honestly, the wait times throughout some of the days can be ridiculously long, so definitely take that into account. And as I mentioned, characters, yes, I do think there are not a lot of characters out during Extra Magic Hours. I think with us on our trip it was Winnie the Pooh and Stitch. I know at the minute with the new show Stitch isn't meeting anymore, and I think it's now Pluto that you can meet, but I did also actually see that Daisy was out in the parks meeting guests one day in Extra Magic Hours, so definitely check around the parks for characters in Extra Magic Hours because you don't have to wait as long. Tip number 9 or 10? I've lost count now. So the app is great, and when we were on our transfer on the way to Disney, we were checking the wait times constantly and they looked incredible, and half of the time they were very accurate. Sometimes you'd get to a ride and it might have changed a bit, but it's not a lot, so I definitely think check the app for wait times and other things, because the app out in Disney, like on Disney Cruise Line, is your best friend, so use it, 100% use it. The next tip, now this is one that I think is very, very, very important. So character meets and ride photos. Sometimes characters have the PhotoPass photographers with them. There'll be magic shots, and obviously some of the ride photos are PhotoPass. And if you want to save money, highly recommend getting the PhotoPass, because, and if you book directly with Disney like I did, you can add PhotoPass on as an added extra, and I believe it was £70 or 60, it's one of the two. And if you buy it in the park, I think now it's like 80 or 90 euros, so you save so much money. And honestly, some of the PhotoPass photos that I got with characters, they captured some incredible moments with them, and the quality of the photos are just excellent. So highly recommend, get PhotoPass. Okay, one of the biggest tips I have is the parade, and I'm not really talking about the new parade. The new parade, if you are going, I know I said I wouldn't talk about it, but watch it. It is, dare I say it? Yeah. It's the best parade and show I've ever seen in a Disney park. So, highly recommend. I also recommend for Stars on Parade. Now, Stars on Parade is incredible. It's got so many amazing characters. The song is amazing. The interactions you get are fantastic. If you want good spots, I recommend right at the end of the parade, literally where the gates are, which is where we stood. I think it's where the entrance to one of the arcades on, let me think, I think it's on the right, I want to say. Yeah. And it's a great place to watch it because you get so close to the characters and they interact with you so much. I think the first day we saw it, I got Daisy, Pinocchio, Olaf, and was it Jessie or Woody, I want to say, and the interactions are brilliant. However, you can also, just checking, yeah, you can also get a great spot at the It's a Small World gates, and obviously when the whole parade has passed by, you can actually go through the gates and go on the rides that will have quite a time, so like Star Tours, Hyperspace, all the ones in Discoveryland, back of Fantasyland I think as well, because you can get round that way. So yeah, highly recommend. Brilliant. Tip number 13. I think I've got some of the numbers wrong, but it's okay. One of the biggest tips I have, if you are staying in one of the Disney hotels other than Disneyland Hotel and Davy Crockett Ranch and Marvel, there are character meets, and these meet and greets are fantastic. So we stayed at Newport Bay, and first night we actually missed a character, annoyingly. But the second and third night, second night when we got back from character dining, we managed to meet Minnie in her little sailor outfit, which was adorable. And if you have seen my video on the top 10 characters that I met, you will know how much I adored that meet and greet. And I also met Goofy on our final night, and the meets were fantastic because you don't have to wait long. If you're not bothered about the fireworks and you want to go meet the character at Newport Bay, and I should have added, Newport Bay is the only one that happens at night. All the others happen in the morning. I think it's 8:15 till 11 a.m. or something, and the Newport Bay ones are, I want to say 7:30 till either 10 or 10:30. And the day I queued to meet Goofy, you don't know who you're gonna get. So if you turn up before the character, you honestly don't know who it's gonna be. And annoyingly, I was sort of wishing it would be Donald or Daisy. However, I was sort of grateful it was Goofy because I didn't have to like hug. Well, I did have to hug. I didn't have to bend down to hug him, that's what I meant. But yeah, he was brilliant, and just to see him coming up the corridor and then coming to meet us all was lovely. So yeah, just highly recommend them because some of the costumes that they wear are just so cute. So yeah, definitely get photos. Tip number 14. So this one relates to something which is very important in Disneyland Paris and any Disney park: the castle. If you want to get an amazing castle photo like I did, so when you go to the left of the castle is the dragon, Maleficent's dragon, in a little cave, and just before the entrance to the cave there's sort of like a little mini platform which is like fenced. There's a fence to the like castle. I don't know how to describe it, okay? And this little area is quiet. It's really quiet, and if you time it well and you want to get an amazing photograph of you and the castle, get your friend to take a photo of you, but have them kneel or sort of bend down and point the camera or phone up, because then you get you and the castle in it, and Some of my favourite photos are literally of that moment in front of the castle, and yeah, it's just incredible. And then my final tip. This is related to character dinner, especially in Plaza Gardens. So at Plaza Gardens, you can have character breakfast and character dinner with some of the characters. And one of the biggest tips I have about this is make sure you time when you go get food or when you start to eat, because there's nothing worse than a character coming round, stopping at your table, wanting autographs and photos when you're eating. So definitely do it. But yeah, that was my last final ever tip. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, do not forget, like, comment and subscribe. Turn on the bell and you'll be notified every time I upload. But for now, this is Redhead Boo signing off. Bye!